Okay, now we will be working on Mastery 7 and 28. Mastery 7 is the use of comments in Python, and Mastery 28 is user input in Python text basic. First, what is a comment? A comment starts with the hash character, this one, and extends to the end of the line, so I can keep writing. This is a comment. Yay. So everything I put in this line is a comment. A comment is used to clarify code and it is not interpreted by Python, so it will be omitted when running the program. This is really useful because even if you understand to perfection your program, maybe someone else elsewhere in the world doesn't understand quite well what you did, so you can write meaningful comments like this function calculates the age or the days in a certain number of years. So they can look at that comment and say, okay, I get what this program is about, what this chunk of code is about. So it's easier to debug and understand and everything else. Even to you, sometime later, maybe you don't quite get what your old self did, what kind of crazy stuff your past self did. So comments are quite useful. It's a good habit to keep to make things clear for everyone, make the world a favor. So when 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 the hash sign is within quotations, then it is not a comment anymore. It becomes a string, so it is important for you to know that a comment should always start with the hash sign. Of course, you can write a variable with value, and you can write a comment right after it, and it will not affect everything else you write on this line. It will be a comment always after the hash sign. Now moving on to input. Uh, Python has a built-in function for this. It's input and the parentheses. Remember, this is how we call a function. Input has an optional parameter which is a string. Here you ask what you want from the user. So let's assign the value that the user will give to a variable. So we run this, and the flow of the program will be stopped until the user has given an input. And when a user writes an input, you, you finish with the enter key. You press the enter key and the input was made. So if we want to print that value, it will do so. It received the value and is assigned to the variable. But let's see what type of of, of data is this variable, this string. If we run this again and put a number inside and search for a type once again, it types is a string even if we wrote a number. So this is important to look at. So if you ever want to to make an operation, you want to receive a number from the user and you want to do operation with that number, you first will have to turn it into an integer or a float or whatever that's operational. So we transform it into an integer and then we can do operations with it. If we don't do that, it will be a string, so this kind of operation will be impossible. So that's basically it. Please remember that comment starts with hash sign and it takes the whole line, the whole physical line. The whole physical line, what is in the whole physical line is a comment, and input is a built-in function of Python. This part is optional, but it's quite recommended for you to write something so the user knows what to input. Comments are ignored by the are are not taken into consideration when running the program, so you don't have to worry. Also, it's quite handy if you have a chunk of code you want to try and see what happens without it. You add a hashtag after before it and everything becomes a comment, so it doesn't affect the program at all. And that's basically it. See you next time.